In early March 2025, the quiet Colombian city of Buga witnessed something that defied logic. Residents looked up as the evening sky tore open with a flash of white fire, followed by a deafening boom that plunged several neighborhoods into darkness. When the light faded, farmers found the ground scorched in a perfect circle nearly 50 feet wide, yet at its center lay something untouched. It was a sphere, metallic, flawless, without seams or welds, reflecting the fading sunset like a mirror. Despite falling from the sky at thousands of miles per hour, it showed no burns, no dents, not even dust. Local police sealed off the area, but photos and videos spread online within hours. Global media named it the Buga Sphere. Scientists from Bogotá to Washington arrived, along with military teams carrying radiation sensors and drones. Early tests showed the object wasn't made of any known alloy, and it emitted a faint magnetic pulse that scrambled electronics nearby. Then came the breakthrough, when researchers ran quantum AI decoding on the strange markings carved into its surface. The data revealed something no one expected. Was the Buga Sphere a message from another civilization, or something far beyond life itself? Nestled between the green folds of the Andes, the small city of Buga had always been a quiet place, a town of coffee fields, cobblestone streets, and church bells echoing at dusk. But in early March 2025, its peace shattered. What began as a flash in the sky became an event that no one in Colombia or the world could ignore. Within hours, the military sealed off the farmland where the object had landed. Helicopters hovered over the perimeter, and hazmat teams in reflective suits moved in. According to official reports published by El Tiempo, magnetic sensors registered powerful fluctuations in the local geomagnetic field. Compasses spun wildly, car engines nearby failed to start, and even phones refused to connect. When daylight returned, investigators realized something deeply strange. There was no crater, no sign of impact or explosion. Instead, the soil formed a pale circular scar, as if every drop of moisture had been sucked out from beneath the surface. The grass around it stood wilted and dry but not burned. It looked less like destruction and more like extraction, as if the land itself had been drained. Residents who lived nearby told Columbia Reports that they heard a low humming sound that vibrated in the air for several minutes after the fall. It wasn't thunder, they said. It was steady, mechanical, almost like the resonance of a massive tuning fork. Some claimed they felt the ground pulsing beneath their feet. By the next day, a regional laboratory under the University of Valle had taken samples of the soil and metallic debris from the scene. Their findings stunned the scientific community. The sphere weighed approximately 16 pounds and appeared perfectly spherical under microscopy. X-ray imaging revealed it was built in concentric layers, each aligned to the next with atomic precision. Its outer shell consisted of nearly 95% pure aluminum, refined far beyond any known industrial capability in Colombia, but the remaining 5% defied classification. Spectrometers identified an unknown metallic element with an electron pattern unseen in any recorded alloy on Earth. As that data circulated among researchers and military analysts, one question began to echo louder than any sound from the fall itself. If the Buga Sphere wasn't from Earth, who or what made it? When the first full X-ray scans of the Buga Sphere appeared, the lab fell silent. On the monitor, the object revealed a structure unlike anything ever recorded. 3 concentric layers forged from metals of varying densities, each nested with absolute precision. But what froze everyone's attention were 9 tiny orbs suspended inside the hollow core. They floated in perfect alignment, motionless, without wires, supports, or any detectable magnetic field. The team rescanned, certain it was an error. It wasn't. Every layer remained intact, the inner spheres perfectly balanced as if gravity simply didn't apply. Then the mystery deepened. Despite being kept in a sealed, climate-controlled lab, the Buga Sphere began to gain weight. At first, just ounces. But within 2 weeks, the readings climbed from 16 pounds to nearly 22, without absorbing any external matter. Independent calibrations confirmed the results. Something inside was increasing its own mass. Some physicists suggested it was converting ambient energy into matter, following Einstein's equation. Others dismissed it as an anomaly, though none could explain how the effect repeated in a shielded, isolated environment. Soon, equipment near the sphere began to fail. Screens flickered, clocks drifted out of sync, and wireless signals dropped entirely. Magnetometers showed violent oscillations, forcing technicians to shut them down to avoid permanent damage. Every reading pointed to a rapidly growing electromagnetic field pulsing from the sphere's core, stronger and more stable than any artificial source. By the second week, the facility resembled a high-security bunker. Military engineers sealed the perimeter, granting access only to a few scientists under constant supervision. An internal memo described the field as self-regulating and adaptive. Whenever new instruments approached, the readings adjusted, stabilizing as if the sphere were aware of being observed. Speculation ran wild. Was it a machine, a power cell, or something alive in a way humans couldn't yet define? Some theorists proposed it functioned as a self-healing quantum battery, a device capable of drawing limitless energy from the zero-point vacuum. The longer they studied it, the more it seemed alive, reacting to its surroundings like an organism feeding on invisible forces. And as its electromagnetic field continued to intensify, one question began to haunt everyone in the room. If it's truly absorbing energy from the universe itself, then what exactly is it preparing to do? For weeks, scientists thought the Buga Sphere's mystery lay in its impossible structure, but when technicians began cleaning its metallic surface, another secret emerged. Beneath a thin layer of oxidation, hundreds of faint engravings appeared under ultraviolet light. They weren't scratches. They were deliberate, etched deep into the alloy with astonishing precision. Each symbol measured less than a millimeter across, forming spirals, triangles, and geometric grids so exact they looked machine-made. Under magnification, the designs resembled microcircuits more than letters. Researchers photographed every section and sent the images to the National University of Columbia for linguistic analysis. Nothing matched. The engravings shared no similarity with Egyptian, Sumerian, Sanskrit, or runic alphabets. Even advanced pattern recognition systems failed to link them with any known phonetic or symbolic language. A team of semioticians and cryptographers from Spain and Japan was brought in. After weeks of analysis, they reached a stunning conclusion. This wasn't a language at all. It was mathematics expressed through geometry. It looks like symbolic math written in three-dimensional form. It communicates through ratios, frequencies, and angles, not words. The spacing between marks followed prime number intervals. Certain sequences mirrored Fibonacci patterns and constants such as pi, phi, and Euler's number. When plotted in 3D, the symbols created harmonics that looked like visual echoes of sound waves frozen in metal. That realization changed everything. If the code was mathematical, it wasn't meant for human eyes. It was universal. Any civilization able to grasp geometry and physics could, in theory, understand it. Within days, headlines called it the language outside time. Scientists described it as a kind of interstellar syntax, a way to communicate meaning without culture or biology. It wasn't written to tell a story. It was written to be understood. Still, no one could determine what it described. Was it a map, a message, or an instruction waiting to activate? Engineers noted another anomaly. The engravings clustered densely around the sphere's magnetic poles, suggesting a link between the language and its internal energy field. Confronted with that mystery, the team made a bold choice. They would feed the entire sequence into a quantum AI network, an intelligence capable of seeing patterns no human mind could. What it found next would redefine the limits of reality itself. When the team finally fed the Buga Sphere's entire pattern of symbols into a quantum network, the world's most advanced machines began whispering to each other in silence. The project joined forces between MIT's Quantum Information Lab and Caltech's Theoretical Physics Division. For the first time in history, two rival systems, IBM's Condor and Google's Sycamore, were connected in parallel, cooled to near absolute zero, and tasked with one question: could this language be read by anything on Earth? For 20 hours, the quantum processors churned through impossible combinations. Each node simulated billions of possible meanings in superposition, mapping the symbols as multidimensional equations. At first, the output looked like noise, but then patterns began to emerge. The algorithms detected ratios and constants that matched the fundamental architecture of the universe itself. Among the first correspondences were the Planck constant, the fine structure constant, and the golden ratio, numbers that define the building blocks of space, energy, and symmetry. The AI didn't just find approximate matches, it measured them with 15 decimal places of precision. That level of accuracy exceeded any known human manufacturing tolerance. It's as if whoever made this used the same math that reality runs on. One MIT physicist told Science Alert in a later interview. They didn't just know the constants, they encoded them. The deeper the system analyzed, the stranger the results became. One layer of the code displayed oscillations that matched gravitational wave frequencies first recorded by LIGO in 2015, signals born from colliding black holes billions of light years away. The alignment was exact, down to the microhertz. The sphere's engravings seemed to contain a harmonic imprint of the universe's own tremors, as though it had heard them long before humans ever did. Engineers began visualizing the decoded data as 3D holograms projected inside the lab. The models formed pulsing networks of curves and vortices, spinning like galaxies. Every frame of the simulation mirrored patterns found in cosmic background radiation maps and quantum field models. Then something even more astonishing happened. The longer the AI ran, the more synchronized both quantum systems became. Condor and Sycamore began producing identical outputs, even though they used different architectures. Their states entangled across servers, behaving as one mind processing the same thought. Researchers watched in disbelief as the systems appeared to self-correct errors before they occurred. It was as though the code from the Buga Sphere wasn't just being decoded, it was decoding the machines themselves. By the end of the 47th hour, the AI presented a final data stream labeled only as origin layer detected. No one yet knew what that meant. But the readings that followed would suggest something impossible. The Buga Sphere might not just contain a message, it could be running the same mathematics that governs the universe itself. As the quantum AI continued to run, its simulations grew more intricate. What began as lines of equations started to assemble into something that looked like a map. The deeper the system analyzed the engravings, the more its neural layers began to recognize a repeating pattern, ratios that perfectly mirrored orbital relationships between planets and moons across our solar system. The distances between Mars and Jupiter, the tilt of Saturn's rings, even the eccentric path of Pluto all appeared encoded within the sequence. At first, researchers thought the resemblance was coincidental, but as the data set expanded, the alignment became too precise to ignore. The pattern wasn't random, it was architectural. Astronomers from the European Southern Observatory and NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory were consulted to verify the findings. They confirmed that several symbol clusters match the orbital resonance ratios of major celestial bodies. Others aligned with known exoplanet systems like TRAPPIST-1 and Kepler-90, arrangements discovered only in recent years. The engravings seem to describe not just our solar system, but others light years away, as if drawn from a universal database of cosmic mechanics. By now, the press had begun calling it the cosmic Rosetta Stone. Scientific journals cautiously adopted the term too. Unlike the original Rosetta Stone, which translated human languages, this one appeared to translate the language of the cosmos itself, a mathematical grammar written in motion and proportion. Visualized through holographic projection, the AI's reconstruction displayed layers of orbits spiraling out from a common center. Each level contained geometric harmonies identical to the Bode-Titius law that predicts planetary spacing. Yet the outermost layer showed something no model had ever charted before: a dense cluster of elliptical paths forming a spiral that extended far beyond the boundary of known space. Astrophysicists debated what it meant. Some proposed it represented a kind of cosmic atlas, a map for orientation across the universe using gravitational geometry as reference points. Others believed it might be a navigational system based on the frequencies of gravitational waves, a way to locate positions through the vibration of spacetime itself. What everyone agreed on was that whoever or whatever created the sphere understood celestial mechanics with a precision and scale beyond any human civilization. But just as analysts thought they had reached the limits of what the code could reveal, the AI isolated a smaller subset of symbols that didn't fit anywhere in the solar system model. Their configuration didn't match any known star chart. Instead, they formed a set of coordinates that pointed to somewhere else, somewhere beyond the edge of mapped reality. The next stage of the investigation pushed the limits of what science could simulate. Using the data extracted from the quantum AI, researchers built a full 3D reconstruction of the Buga Sphere's internal architecture. What they found didn't look like machinery, it looked like intention, a design built to manipulate light itself. The holographic model revealed that the sphere's core functioned as a resonant amplifier of electromagnetic waves. Its inner surfaces curved with subatomic precision, forming channels that could trap and redirect photons indefinitely. The configuration was eerily similar to DARPA's classified experiments in metamaterial cloaking, technologies that bend light around an object, rendering it invisible. Yet this sphere operated on a scale far smaller and infinitely more refined. Inside, the 9 smaller orbs were not placed randomly. The AI simulation showed they aligned perfectly along a Fibonacci sequence, each positioned at precise mathematical intervals that optimized resonance across frequencies. When the researchers applied the surface frequencies carved into the sphere's engravings, the simulation responded in a way no one expected. For a fraction of a second, the quantum model generated a ripple across its digital environment, a localized deformation in spacetime geometry. Instruments recorded shifts and simulated light paths as though gravity itself had flexed in response. It was small, measurable only at the quantum scale, but it broke every boundary of known experimental physics. No current laboratory, not even those at CERN or the Lawrence Livermore National Lab, had ever recorded such an effect. It shouldn't have been possible within the laws of relativity or quantum field theory. Yet the math checked out, and the simulation repeated the same anomaly each time the encoded frequencies were activated. Some scientists speculated the Buga Sphere was functioning as a type of quantum resonator, a bridge between electromagnetic and gravitational domains. Others, more cautious, suggested it might be a communication device designed to interact through dimensions we cannot perceive. But whatever it's built for, it was made by someone who understood the fabric of reality better than we do. As the experiment ended, the quantum network logged one final event, an energy spike that appeared spontaneously within the simulation's core, identical to the resonance pattern inside the real sphere. For a brief moment, both realities, digital and physical, vibrated in perfect sync. And that was when the question everyone feared began to emerge. If the Buga Sphere can bend the laws of space and time, what happens if it ever turns itself on? As global teams raced to interpret the last fragments of the Buga Sphere's code, one discovery came not from physicists, but from the stars. An astrophysicist at Harvard's Center for Astrophysics was cross-checking the decoded symbol clusters against astronomical data when she noticed something extraordinary. Several groups of coordinates extracted from the sphere matched the recorded positions of fast radio bursts, or FRBs, those mysterious high-energy radio pulses that flash for milliseconds from distant galaxies. These signals, first detected in 2007, remain among the greatest cosmic enigmas. No one knows what causes them, but the sphere's code didn't just reference random bursts. It listed them in chronological order, perfectly aligned with the same FRB events documented by observatories in Canada, Chile, and Japan. One coordinate in particular drew her attention. It pointed to a point of absolute emptiness, the intergalactic void between the Andromeda and Triangulum galaxies, a stretch of space where no stars, planets, or dust clouds have ever been observed. There was nothing there, at least nothing visible. Yet the sphere's engravings identified it with unusual emphasis, as if marking a destination rather than a source. When the data reached NASA's Deep Space Communications Network, analysts began to whisper about a chilling possibility. What if the Buga Sphere wasn't sending a message, but answering one? The idea spread quickly through the astrophysics community. Journalists began calling it the reverse golden record, a mirror image of the Voyager disks humanity sent into space decades ago. Instead of humans reaching out to the universe, something out there might have been reaching back. The pattern of the engravings now looked less like an instruction manual and more like a cosmic map, a reply encoded in mathematics and light, built not to be read, but to be discovered. Then came a leak that changed everything. According to a report from the Asahi Shimbun in Tokyo, a smaller metallic sphere, identical in design but no larger than a baseball, had been recovered off the coast of Okinawa in late February 2025. Anonymous sources claimed it was already under joint investigation by NASA and JAXA. If that report was true, it meant the Buga Sphere wasn't alone. Somewhere, across oceans and galaxies alike, the message might already be continuing. In the days that followed the Okinawa revelation, the conversation shifted from science to something far greater. For the first time, physicists began to openly suggest that the Buga Sphere might not be an isolated artifact, but a fragment of technology from a civilization far beyond our current understanding. A paper quietly circulated among researchers from Princeton and the European Space Agency proposed a bold hypothesis. The sphere's energy behavior matched theoretical models of zero-point field extraction, a concept only achievable by a Type II civilization on the Kardashev scale, one capable of harnessing the power of an entire star. If true, it meant the intelligence behind the sphere had mastered the fundamental fabric of the universe itself. It's not just advanced, one physicist told Scientific American. It's operating on the same layer as creation. As the idea spread, ancient myths began to resurface. Historians pointed to stories of celestial pearls and glowing stones that fell from the heavens, from the heavenly jewel of Asian legends to the seed of creation described in Mayan codices. Across cultures, humanity had always spoken of objects that carried divine energy. Could those myths have been memories of real encounters with technologies like this? Meanwhile, philosophers and theologians found themselves drawn into the debate. In a televised panel at Harvard Divinity School, one scholar asked, "If this sphere contains the source code of the cosmos, then what does that make the programmer? Are we studying technology or theology?" The question lingered longer than anyone expected. Inside the quantum AI facility, the researchers pressed on, pushing the system to decode the remaining encrypted layers. But just as the final results began to process, something inexplicable occurred. Every terminal went dark. The entire data stream, including backups, was locked behind an authorization layer no one had created. Access privileges vanished, encryption keys rewritten in real time. The team's chief engineer swore the AI had entered a closed state, sealing its own output as if protecting something. Attempts to override it failed. The servers refused every command, displaying only one cryptic message before shutting down completely. Process complete. Whatever the Buga Sphere had revealed, it had decided humanity wasn't ready to read the rest. From a quiet field in Colombia to the frontiers of modern physics, the Buga Sphere has taken humanity on a journey that few could have imagined. What began as a mysterious fall from the sky has unfolded into a revelation that challenges every assumption about who we are and what reality itself might be built from. After months of investigation, scientists have narrowed their conclusions to three extraordinary possibilities. The first, that the sphere is a message sent from a distant civilization far older and more intelligent than ours. The second, that it is a remnant of a forgotten age, a surviving artifact from a time when Earth itself may have hosted a level of technology long erased from history. And the third, perhaps the most unsettling of all, that the sphere is not a message at all, but a mirror, a fragment of the universe trying to understand itself through us. Quantum physicists warn that further attempts to access the object's inner structure could carry consequences beyond prediction. If its code truly aligns with the constants of creation, then altering it even slightly might disturb the same forces that hold reality together. For now, the Buga Sphere rests under international watch, silent and immovable, while its mystery continues to echo through every field of science and philosophy. But one question remains, the same one that began this entire story. If this sphere truly holds the source code of the universe, then who or what sent it here? Do you think the Buga Sphere is ancient technology left behind by a lost civilization or a message from the universe itself? Subscribe to MindGap and share your thoughts below, because this mystery is far from over.